If someone's sat at home, and I know people come up to you on your tours and ask you questions like this a lot, if they're sat at home trying to figure out what success actually is for them, is there a framework or a principle or a method to figure out what it might mean for them? I've heard you talk about two ideas, which I love, which is the region beta paradox, but also the parable of the Mexican fisherman, which I think both stayed with me in a profound way.
Yeah, so 3 things: success, region beta, Mexican fisherman. What success looks like for any individual person is going to be different. For you, knowing that you really want a family, there's people out there that are like, I'm not that fussed. I don't think that that's on the cards for me, and that's fine. Other people might really, really want to put the workload down and step off and go and do the dad or the mum thing. Unfortunately, you can't take somebody else's purpose or success. Like that's you can't wear it as a suit. It's a bad idea, right? Because it's going to not fit. And wonderful line, let go or be dragged. If something doesn't fit, eventually it's going to hurt wearing it. And that means if you're not careful with how you design what it is that you chase after, you can spend your entire life realizing that you climbed a huge fucking ladder, a very, very long ladder that was leaning up against the wrong wall. And you need to ensure that you don't do that. And this is why we need to just sit with ourselves, sit with a little bit of reflection. And that's why this time in between Christmas and New Year, I think, is a really wonderful time to do this. So how do you work out what it is that you want to do? The big picture goals are going to be hard for you to get to. But if you just think 1 year ahead, what do I want over the next 12 months? I think that usually helps you. And maybe you want to be in a relationship. I want to be in a committed relationship with someone who really loves me. Okay. Now we can start to talk about a plan to do that. But you need to have a little bit of silence. It's like a problem with permanently being busy stops you from being able to listen to fleeting thoughts that are in the back of your mind. And that quiet voice is usually the really powerful one. But there's a wonderful line, the answers you seek are in the silence you're avoiding. The answers that you seek are in the silence you're avoiding.
Do you meditate?
Of course.
You do?
Yes. Yeah. Do you?
No.
Do you wish you did?
I think the definition of meditation is quite blurry, because for me, when I will have a shower for like 30 minutes and all I'm doing in there is thinking. I'm not cleaning. Like I'm clean after 5 minutes.
I was going to say, it suggests that you come out of the shower not clean, but with great ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but I mean, you get clean in like 5 minutes, but then I spend the other 25 minutes because there's something about the water falling and the alone time that drops me into a spiral of thinking, which I think is my version of meditation. Then treadmills and the stepper at the gym.
Treadmills are great. Yeah.
My version of meditation.
Shower thoughts are overrated. Toilet thoughts are underrated.
The other thing that I love that you talk about is when we talk about metrics of success, you talk about observable metrics and hidden metrics of success.
Yeah, so a lot of the time we'll trade a hidden metric for an observable metric. Something that's observable would be your job title, what your salary is per year, how many people know you, your bank balance, the size of your house, the car that you drive.
Things people can see.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
The only way that your success can be judged is outwardly. So naturally, we trade something which people can't see for something that they can see. For instance, lots of people would trade a longer commute for a higher salary or a better job title. One of the problems that you encounter with that is that the length of your commute is one of the most correlated stats with your happiness. Longer commutes reliably make people more miserable. And what's the hidden metric that you've lost by doing that? Well, that's less time with your family, with maybe your kids that are growing up, with your wife to connect. That's less time to pursue your own passions, even if your job is your passion. So what about a more stressful career? Going to move into a different industry that's way more stressful, but it pays more. Observable metric. What's the hidden metric? Well, what about the peace of mind that you have as you go to sleep at night? What about what that does to your health and the quality of your relationships and your ability to be present on a weekend? So you're not able to turn your phone off because your last job was 9 to 5, but this one is 24/7. Well, it's difficult to say because you're like, people want and need real resources. I want to improve the quality of my family. That's a noble thing to do. But after a while, you have to admit, if you already live a comfortable quality of life and you trade it, you trade your happiness or your peace in order to get more, you're making a bad choice because you're going to sacrifice something that you want, which is happiness, peace, connection, for something that's supposed to get the thing that you want, which is money, job title, bigger car.
Which I think links to the story of the Mexican fisher.
Yeah. Parable of the Mexican fisherman. An American businessman was away on a holiday in Mexico, and he got taken out by a fisherman. And he asked the fisherman, so what do you do each day? The fisherman said, I spend each morning out on the water, I fish a little, I catch some food, I take it home, and I sit in my house with my wife and my family, and we eat what I've caught for the day. The American says, that's stupid. This is a stupid idea. What you should do is you should get a bigger boat, and then you could catch more fish, and then you could go sell it at the market. The fisherman said, why would I do that? He said, well, once you've sold it at the market, you could buy some more boats, and you could get your friends to come and work for you, and then they could catch more fish, and you could start to sell it wholesale. The fisherman said, why would I do that? So, well, then you could create a canning factory, and you could export it back to the UK, and you could have a huge business. The fisherman said, why would I do that? So, well, then you would be able to retire and fish a little on a morning, catch some fish, and then spend the afternoon with your family. And it's the same lesson as Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, which is this young boy goes on a huge, big journey, and he finds out the thing that he was looking for was in the back garden all along. But that's an unteachable lesson. And the big lesson behind The Alchemist is going on a massive journey to end up back where you started is not the same as having never left. And this is what an unteachable lesson is. You have to go to the top of the mountain to get up there and go, oh, damn it. Damn it. Like, I thought that was going to be the answer. But now that it's not, I can rid myself of that. I've crossed it off. And it's so unpopular. It's so unpopular to talk about this online because everybody that doesn't have a thing assumes that the thing will fix their problems and that the people who have got there, achieved it, and say that it didn't are ungrateful. Like, oh my God, the thing that I want, and they're just casting it away. Like, how dare you? How dare you say that the thing that I know I want isn't the answer to my problems? And yet, reliably, everybody that gets there says it's not the answer.
It's very true. I was thinking back to all the goals that I wrote in my diary at 18 years old, and then it's no surprise that I have none of those things now. They're all like material things and outcomes I was looking for, but...
Let me give you another one. A great question to reflect on. Knowing what I know now, what advice would I give myself 12 months ago?
Do you know what mine would be? Mine would be around prioritization. It would really be around saying no. Like, we don't really teach, it goes back to what you're saying about adding and subtracting, but my life would be much better if I was even 10% better at saying no to things. It would be so much better. I'd be so much more successful. The upside isn't like 10% upside. It's like 50, 100% upside because of the compounding force of focus.
Okay, so that's what advice you would have given yourself 12 months ago knowing what you know now.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Well,
it's almost certainly what you need to hear right now.
Yeah.
The big problems are the big problems. In the same way that you've got the feet that you had a decade ago, the big drivers psychologically for you tend to be the same throughout your life. I put other people's happiness ahead of mine. Maybe that showed up when I was a child and I didn't speak up to mum when I felt upset because I was worried that it would upset her. Maybe that happened when I got into my first job and I didn't advocate for myself when my boss was treating me poorly. Maybe that happens when I get into a relationship and I'm scared of making my needs known to my partner because I'm worried that they're going to reject me or think lesser of me. When it comes to my child, I'm terrified to discipline them because I need their love and I don't want them to make them upset. This is a single trend that's occurring throughout your life. And all of the time, one of the most common questions that people ask is, what would you tell yourself 10 years ago? Great question to ask, not because it's trite, but because it is almost always the very same thing that you need to hear right now.
What would you have said 12 months ago?
Stop working so hard. Stop working so hard.
Consistent.
Take a day off. Take a day off. Take a day off per week. Put your phone down. Put your phone down. Go outside. Touch some grass. And it's the same thing now. It's the exact same thing now.
Do you think you're going to accomplish it?
I don't know, man. I mean, you know, I'm trying, but behavioral design, I've got better. The one thing that I can say, and the beautiful thing about the end of your review, there are some resolutions which I decided on a decade ago that I still do now. And I think that's really cool. So when I'm faced with the opportunity to plan, because I gave myself a little bit of space, right? And it never happened. Very few of the habits that randomly appeared in the middle of July are ones that I've stuck with and I really care about. Bad ones, maybe accumulated bad habits in the middle of July. But most of the ones that I really love, that are very conscious, that are aligned with where I want to go, they're ones that I consciously designed, right? They're ones that were done purposefully. And that's always been around a review period. So yeah, end of the year is not special. But when else are you going to do it, right? When else are you going to do it? But yeah, 12 months ago and 10 years ago, I was doing the same thing, different industry, running nightclubs. Chill out, take a day off.
So what is this annual review template that I have in front of me?
At the end of each year, you need to have some sort of a format. If anyone wants to go and download it, they can go to chriswillx.com/review. It's totally free. They can just copy and paste it into their notes app of choice and then fill it in. I realized that this big question of it's the end of the year and I need to look back on it. I want to reflect on what went well and badly, and I want to plan my goals. Without a structure, you're just like cast out adrift, freewheeling everywhere, and you have no idea what to do. So there's a bunch of questions. Stuff like, how has this year gone? What went well? What went badly? And why? What lessons did I learn? What habit or system accounted for most of my success? What are the most valuable ways that I spend my time? How can I find more time for this? There's a section for memories. What was the best surprise, best meal, coolest new experience? My favorite new city? My favorite new friend? What was my favorite day or my most intense day? What was the best sex I had? What's my favorite quote and song and artist? And then there's a plan. What would I do this year if I wanted to make 85-year-old me miserable? What are the things I do to make my day go great? What do I think is productive that isn't? What is productive that I don't realize? Those are two big ones. Mm-hmm. And then there's some final thoughts. What would have had to have happened by the end of next year to look back and consider it a success? Who do I need to become for the next chapter of my life to go the way that I want? Knowing what I know now, what advice would I give myself 12 months ago? So for the people that are frantically taking notes, they can just go to chriswillx.com/review, and this is available for free.
You mentioned there that goals you set 10 years ago are still some of your most important today. Mm-hmm. What are those goals that you cherish the most? Habits, goals that you cherish the most that you set out to accomplish 10 years ago?
So I reflected last year on the highest ROI resolutions that I've ever done. And what I think would be cool would be if people put the single best return on investment resolution that they've ever done in the comments, because that will create maybe the biggest repository of the highest value New Year's resolutions that anybody's ever had. And the best ones will get upvoted and the bad ones will be heavily criticized in the replies. So that could be kind of cool.
Okay, so that was an instruction, which means if you're listening right now, leave a comment below with the resolution you set yourself at any point in the past that returned the most for you in any area of your life.
You love it the most.
And if you agree with someone's, please hit the like button on their comment too. And this should create, as Chris says, a repository of the most impactful, highest ROI resolutions.
I think that's cool, dude. I want to do it. I want to know what everyone else's big resolutions are. So I'll give you mine.
Okay.
No phone in the bedroom at night. Charge it outside.
Interesting.
It's an instant 15% quality of life increase.
Why?
Because when you start your day, if you use your phone as your alarm, you roll over, you turn the alarm off, and immediately you're looking at your phone. You haven't got up, you haven't got moving, you're not hydrated, you're not seeing sunlight in your eyes. You are hit in the face by the world telling you what's happening, as opposed to you having a tiny little microcosm of peace, this little oasis for you. And I get it, people that have got young kids are hit in the face by the children, not by the phone. But even if you do, adding the phone and the scroll and everything else on top, that means you're not present with the kids. So even if the kids are a problem, you don't need to have the phone in there. You wake up. It means that you're always on the other side. The world is happening to you, you're not happening to the world. When you go to bed on a nighttime, you're going to be using your phone before you go to sleep, which means that you're going to cut into your sleep time. You're going to be in an environment digitally that's going to make yourself feel horrendous. It's not good. It's not good for sleep. Whether it's the blue light, there's a little bit of research that seems to say that it's not the blue light so much as it is the scroll, sort of dopamine trigger, adrenal, intermittent schedule reward thing, that's the main issue of what's going on. But it also means if you can't sleep, you can just roll over and pick your phone up and now you're 2 hours into a YouTube scroll hole. That's who you truly are, by the way. People think that who you are is, your journal entries, your diary entries. No. Who you truly are the videos that you watch on YouTube between 10 p.m. and 12 p.m. at night when you can't sleep. That's who you really are. So getting your phone and putting it outside of the bedroom is no cost, There's no reason to not do it. The only reason to not do it is somebody needs to ring you or something like that. I get it. Maybe you've got kids that are out late and you need to make sure that they're okay in case some sort of catastrophe occurs. But really, there are very few excuses to not have it outside. Radio alarm clocks have existed for forever. Buy a radio alarm clock. Take your phone cable now and put it in the kitchen or put it in the living room or something. Or put it on the other side of the room, right? Because you don't want to wake up with no charge on your phone. It's the single biggest improves quality of sleep. It means that your mornings are better. It means that your nights are better. It means you're less distracted. It means you spend less time on your phone. You're forced to do something even tiny bit more productive, like watch Netflix or read a book or talk to your partner.
It's interesting because I was thinking about this through a 4-quadrant graph.
You've drawn a diagram.
Well, I'll throw it up on the screen. Please make it look better, editing team, because nobody's going to be able, this is not coherent. But on one axis, you've got things that are low effort. And on the other axis, you've got things that are high return. And this is right up in the top right, which is like
Correct.
very low effort, high return.
Cost-free.
Habit. Yeah. Which is probably where one should aim most. But I imagine a lot of us are aiming at like high effort, low return.
Morning walk every day.
Okay.
Morning walk.
Slightly higher effort.
The research around this is fantastic. Humans obviously push this a lot, morning sunlight in your eyes. Even if you don't have the sun, even if you're somewhere dark and cold and wet, doesn't matter. Getting up and doing ambulation, so walking through an environment while your eyes scan left and right, seems to tune down your fear response. It makes your amygdala just a little bit more calm. So regardless of whether, if there's sunlight, fantastic, that'll be even better. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And I know people have got structural limitations. This is me assuming that you've got like 20 minutes on a morning that you could slot this into. And if you're not waking up with your phone in your hand, that probably is the 20 minutes, right? Little walk, bit of fresh air, just get up, put your shoes on, get going, just get moving. You don't need to think. You don't need to do anything at all. Don't need to brush your teeth, get up and go. Probably need to go to the bathroom actually. Get up and go. No caffeine within 90 minutes of waking. Just push your caffeine a little bit later. It seems like the adenosine system isn't dominant during the first 90 minutes of the day. Your adrenal system is.
So adenosine is the receptors that deal with caffeine and tiredness.
Correct, and tiredness, exactly. And caffeine binds to it and it stops you from feeling tired. Salt acts on your adrenal system. So if you use some sort of electrolyte drink first thing in the morning, that will help to get that moving. But the main reason for this, regardless of the research, most people have a 1 p.m. slump, feel a little bit tired. And I think if you just push that caffeine a little bit later, just see if you can hold on. When you wake up, you should be okay-ish. Just the natural cortisol, you've gone for your little walk, you know, here we are, the day's begun. Do you really need a coffee within 20 minutes of waking? Because that's what most people's first thing is. Just see what happens, test it. See what happens if you push it back by 90 minutes and see how you feel. At least for me, I know that works well. No alcohol for 6 months. This is a big one. This is much more high effort for a lot of people, even people that don't drink that much. Because a lot of the parties and things that you attend are not superbly fun. And some people use alcohol in order to make their family or the wedding or the birthday a little bit more comfortable.
Social lubricant.
Correct. Yeah, of course. But if you take alcohol out for about 6 months, what it forces you to do is think, do I really want to go to that party? I'm actually having to anesthetize myself of the people that I'm around. Like, if you can only bear to be around your friends when you're drinking, that's probably not a good indication. And if your friends only want you to be around them when you're drinking, they're not friends, they're drinking partners. So I think alcohol's a big, I just like it. It just makes me have more fun. Hey, I get it. But I think if people look at it closely, they realize that they're using alcohol as a bit of a crutch. They're using it to bolster themselves in a way.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.